The Umayyads, the first caliphate that succeeded the Rashiduns, the same who went to conquer all the way from Arabia to Persia, even all the way to Iberia. But by the 867 start date in CK3, their luck had drastically changed. From being an empire stretching such vast amount of land to being exiled in the recently conquered Iberian provinces, yeah, it kinda stinks. But fear not, as the Abbasid pretenders shall be dealt with in due time, which will give us the Umayyad Strikes Back achievement, and we will subdue the rebellious Persians, re-establishing Islam's leading role in the world, and obtaining the Abbasid Might achievement. Although it should be renamed to Umayyad Might, but I digress. But before we can do any of that, we must first assess our starting situation. We start at Sultan Muhammad ibn Abdal al-Rahman. I probably butchered that name so badly, but oh well. Of the Sultanate of Al-Andalus, a kingdom tier title which will be very important for our strategy. Now, we started out with the Iberian struggle mechanic, but in reality we won't be engaging with it at all, as we will be leaving Iberia shortly.
On your feet, soldier! We are leaving!
Sadly though, we are confronted with three big issues. We started at war with the Kingdom of Asturias, the last remaining Christian stronghold in the north, and we have an uprising from our frontier governors underway, so we certainly don't start in an admirable position. The only thing we have going on for us is that when the Persian DLC dropped, they revamped how clan governments work, and we started with a strong house unity, which is important as, well, it might not allow us to use strong casus belli, such as the invasion casus belli with low house unity, but we do have the perk of getting harmonious succession, which will allow us to retain most of our titles with our player, basically giving us high patrician super early on, which is a godsend. Or maybe an alas send would be more fitting for the video? Man, you decide. Anyway, it's time to beat some traitors and infidels and send them to Allah. Our enemies might be superior in numbers, but our quality is unmatched. Plus, they're extremely disorganized, so we were able to rout them easily and quell the rebellion. Now, for the war against Asturias, it seemed a little bit trickier, but ended up being more of the same. Although it surprisingly ended inconclusively as the claimant died, so victory, I guess? Forgot to mention that clan realms also do have access to tax collectors, which will allow you to specialize of what type of vassal you want in a way. This would later be developed more with Road's power, so I won't talk about it here, since, video coming up about that, but whatever. Anyhow, with the wars done, I took the decision to become Andalusian, even though it seemed contrary considering my earlier statement of us leaving this hellhole and going back to Arabia. So we might as well make our rule of the former Visigoths more amicable. Plus we need it for an achievement later on. In the meantime, I also decided to mop up the rest of the Iberian minor realms to solidify our main base of operations. It is important to mention that for the Umayyad achievement, we also need to control the Sunni Caliphate title, which can only be given by hereditary succession, so we can't simply just steal our religious throne. We would actually need another way of obtaining it for the achievement to pop up. With all of that out of the way, I decided to start our great trek eastward. By conquering smaller realms along the North African coastline, we managed to reach Egypt, where after defeating the Sultan and taking his heir hostage, we managed to get a border with our nemesis, the Abbasids. Now, you might think that trying to take the title by invading with a claim would be the easiest way, but not only would that take way too long, but also simply by holding fewer resources such as gold and manpower in our current state, well, it's not really feasible. So we shall employ Order 66 on the Abbasid fake Caliph by becoming his direct vassal, and because I took the stewardship lifestyle at the start of the game, I was able to use the meritocracy perk to claim my liege's throne, gaining me a claim, and then I would even sway his own vassals against him. The fool even offered to make me his marshal, not clearly making himself any favors, but... With my claim fabricated, I decided to press it immediately as he was fighting the Frankish king, as he was now the top ruler of Al-Andalus, meaning he would be distracted in Iberia. So I created my faction, pressed my claim, and surprisingly, he just gave up and said, nah, fuck this shit, mate, I'm out of here. Like, but he just rage quitted in the middle of a war and a rebellion. So yeah, get direct, scrub, get good, noob. Anyway, weirdly enough, I actually got an achievement out of that without even knowing. And to this day, I still don't know what the achievement wanted me to do, so thanks, I guess? I know a while ago I said to the Abbasids to get good, but TBH, I wasn't fighting a pointless war for a shitty province Iberia, so I kinda just gave that land away, and also had to let some assholes go independent, and that's because, you know, I kinda wanted to catch my breath and stabilize things internally. Yeah, this is not a good look at my track record, is it? Anyway, the interesting part is that the former Abbasid ruler also broke free, meaning that I wouldn't have to make him independent myself, as the way we will be going about taking the title is by destroying the thing, by basically making the Abbasid Caliph be unlanded and remaking it just after destroying it, making me the new Caliph. But just as things were starting to get good and go smoothly, yeah, our initial ruler just died, kinda destabilizing things in his wake, so
I started blasting. Bang!
and decided to take back that only for a claimant faction wanting to take Andalusia for my brother, which I also accepted, but only because I could murder him quite easily. After my victory against the Abbasids and moving my capital to Baghdad, I was officially involved in the Iranian intermezzo. And about time my brother died, only leaving his young son in charge, that I would immediately murder. Man, murder is so much fun! Anyway, another interaction exclusive to Persia was the request incursion, where you basically ask a nomadic ruler from the steppes to basically go on and fuck some guy in Persia and take his land over. Nice little mechanic. So anyway, I sent a Khazar man to take the lands from the Abbasids as I went on a hijack. The invasion was successful and the Abbasids were losing land by the second, so I went for the last complete duchy, took it over quite easily, and wanted to murder the guy to cut the truce. But it was my guy who died instead in his sleep. On the bright side, that actually allowed me to finally de-land the Abbasid Caliph, so it ended up being a blessing in disguise, but you know, kinda ironic. With Abbasid Caliph no longer being, well, the Caliph, I was able to become the Caliph myself since I held 3 holy sites, and wham, the achievement popped! The Umayyad strikes back! Now, since I was all the way in Arabia, I decided to finish the Iranian intermezzo since I had never played in Persia with the new DLC. Funny enough, first I thought of doing the Abbasid humiliation since, you know, I am a Umayyad character, it's kinda fitting after all, but actually, for the endings, it doesn't actually check whether the Abbasids are the Caliphs, the endings only just check who is the Sunni Caliph, so because I was now the new Sunni Caliph, I was forced to do the Abbasid Might ending/achievement. And so, by also becoming the Caliph myself, I ended up getting all the special interactions the Abbasid Caliph normally gets to reincorporate all of Persia back into the Caliphate's arms. Since I finally had stabilized the realm, I decided it was time to start expanding, and what a great way to establish Umayyad rule over the former Caliphate than to fuck over Egypt as usual. It's just usual behavior to fuck on Egypt and bring them back into the fold. Now, if the past wars were anything to go by, it's pretty clear that Egypt is not quite the strongest realm unless you're actually playing it. So with a cheeky battle and a cheeky siege of Cairo, the war was over and Egypt was reincorporated directly into the Caliphate. Of course, to avoid them being a pest in my side, I just decided to kill the Sultan again, and his son was none the wiser this time around, not like the last time. Since I was already in the region as well, I decided to fuck on the Armenians cause Turkey strong.
Neymiş efendim? Türklüğümüzü yaşa...
Oh wait, that's a few centuries later. Oh shit. Big disclaimer here, I just have to remind you that this is just for comedic purposes. I do not condone nor support any extremist ideology or group, nor action or atrocity committed by any of these groups, and if you do, please rethink your life choices. No, for real, I actually needed to conquer the Caucasus for an achievement called Iberia or Iberia, since did you know that the Caucasus were also known as Iberia in ancient times? Anyway, the point is that the rebellious Armenians needed to go, and this time they wouldn't be a subject. Afterwards, I was able to make most of Arabia serve fealty by being well liked and being the top legion of the entire region. Like, who would have thought that by stop being a warmonger maniac, you would be well liked and you would be able to get some actual friends? Maybe I should do that in real life. Moving on, I was able to clean the remaining holdouts in the Caucasus and our next achievement popped out. Now the only thing that remained was to reestablish our rule over Persia, and since most rulers were actually Shia instead of Sunni, I had the Holy War Casus Belli available on the largest realm in Persia. Annoyingly, as soon as I was about to force peace on the ruler, he died and had to resiege all of the new guy's stuff again. But you know what? I'm used to this. In the meantime, I had been promoting my culture, and since enough time had passed, I was able to almost hybridize with the Persians, making my life so much easier ruling over the treacherous Iranians. But before that could happen, I decided to do some
Careful diplomacy.
By inviting a claimant to the King of Khorasan, I was able to press his claim, and since I was an empire, I would automatically subjugate the new kingdom, ridding the biggest obstacle in Persia to getting the renewed Caliphate ending. Or so I thought. With the kingdom realm out, I only needed to deal with the Shia dukes that were still independent, since they would automatically gain the detractors of the Caliph trait, although some Sunni rulers can also get the trait of detractor or Caliph, so it's not just a thing exclusively to Shia, it's just that by being Shia you automatically get detractor of the Sunni Caliphate, which, you know, kind of makes sense. So because of that, it's just easier to gobble them up and just replace them with loyal vassals. That is, unless one of your vassals decides to turn back to Shia, like how it happened to me, with that Khorasan king that I installed there. So I was forced to imprison his son to make sure he was not a detractor of the Caliphate, but that would be for later. The problem was facing as I had a truce with the remaining dukes, and since I was running out of time to finish the intermezzo, as compared to the Iberian struggle, it has an expiration date that if you do not end the Iranian intermezzo, it just ends naturally. And by naturally, I mean that the Seljuks just invade and ruin all your progress, so I definitely didn't want that to happen. So for this, I had to artificially make my ruler abdicate, and I did that by trying to imprison the Shia kingdom up north, surrendering, and so my guy would get deposed. With the new guy in charge, and with the help of some strategic murders, I was able to quickly mop up the remaining states in Persia, not under my rule. With the rest of Persia mopped up, now I actually fought the Khorasan ruler to try to imprison him, and with some fighting in the mountains, I was able to replace the guy with a new follower of the Caliph's authority. And just as I was about to end the intermezzo, since I was waiting to hybridize to become an involved ruler in the struggle, a random duke in fucking Central Asia was now cock-blocking me. So I had to go to and do a final war to end this fucking nightmare that is this fucking nightmarish terrain that is Central Asia and Persia. I swear, what's up with Central Asia and the steppes ruining things for Persians, Arabians, Byzantines, and even other Central Asians? Jesus. Anyhow, with that final duchy under my command, the decision to take the ending I had been working up for 100 years was available, and so the Iranian intermezzo had ended with a true Caliph restoring Sunni Muslim rule all over the Middle East. The struggle is over. Whether through success in war, theft diplomacy, or inherent supremacy of my station, the traitors and the rebels have changed tune. Now they're scrambling to swear new oaths before my throne, jostling to bow the deepest and reaffirm their faith in the rightly guided and rightful Caliph. The rebellious Persian lords have pledged submission and repented for their folly, or have been replaced by Al-Andalusian governors, trustworthy and pious. I have completed the conquest of Persia that the Rashidun Caliphate began 2 centuries ago for the undying glory of Islam. And there it is, Abbasid might, although to be honest it should be Umayyad might. With this ending, the entire Persian Empire tile gets annexed into the Arabian Empire, making you one of the most OP de jure empires of the whole game. With that done, we can finally put at rest the worries of the treacherous usurpers losing control of Iran, which our forefathers, the Rashidun Caliphate, conquered. I would have shown you me kicking France's ass and avenging the Battle of Tours, since I did do that in this game, but sadly since this was recorded long ago, I lost that part of the video, so that's we're just gonna have to be leaving it here for today. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you're watching this when the video was published or somewhat close to it, the new DLC for CK3 is almost around the corner, so I will be hosting a live stream testing the brand new hordes mechanic live on the 28th of April, 4 PM CDT, or Texas time to be, well, simpler. So I really hope I can see you there. And thank you so much for watching this video for an almost 2-year hiatus. If you're one of my old followers, thank you so much for sticking with me even with such a big hiatus with almost no updates. If you're brand new to the channel though, welcome. I do make general Paradox related videos, so if you're interested in any of their games, please subscribe and leave a like so the algorithm starts pushing my videos back again. Anywho, I will see you in the next video and stream. You are dismissed, soldier.